Guys, Michael Edward with True Trading Group. November 27th, I just wasted the whole day. And that's what this video is about. About how I spent the entire day focusing on two very specific trade setups in DPW and MARA, M-A-R-A, that never triggered. And the lesson that I want you guys to take away from this video is not to fall in love with a trade or a setup, because that caused me to miss out on a 43% gain in CERC that I ended up calling out in chat, but didn't pull the trigger myself, and I didn't enter the trade, and I missed out on a home run trade. So first, I'm going to get into the CERC trade. The 43% gain. Some people in chat caught it when I was talking about it, and I called it out just before noon, but I didn't pull the trigger myself. Like I said, I was just too engulfed and inundated with these two other setups, and I let that take all of my attention, and it caused me to miss out on this move. So let me get right to CERC first. I'll walk you through the trade. Guys, I started talking about CERC in chat right here. Right when the stock was right at that $1.50 area, and I said, guys, it looks like this CERC has some room to run. Let's watch for this thing to make a move here in the afternoon. And right after I got done saying that, you can see right here, just after 12 o'clock, about 10 after 12, the stock takes off. Okay, breaks through the previous high, makes a new high in the day, and just continues to run and push. Strong volume came in, and you can see the stock. Here was that previous high. After it broke above it, pulled in, held support, and then kept pushing. Okay, went all the way up to a high of 215. That's a 43% gain when I was talking about this, and I was calling this out at $1.50. And I missed that entire move. It was very frustrating, but I have no one to blame but myself because I got too caught up in MARA and DPW, and I'll take you to those trade setups now. Actually, excuse me. Let me take you to the daily chart because I want to show you why I was calling out CERC at $1.50. I'm sorry, I almost forgot about that. Here's your daily chart on CERC, okay? When I scroll out, you can see this rounded bottom pattern, okay? This is a very long pattern. It took about a year to form. Okay, this goes all the way back to the end of November of 2016, okay? So pretty much a full year. You see this rounded bottom down here. When you guys see a rounded bottom like this, you need to zoom in on the right side of that bottom. So you see like this, like it looks like a bowl. It's like a bowl shape. Zoom in on the right side of the bowl and look for a pattern within the rounded bottom pattern to give you some type of clue the stock's about to go. And I saw two in this CERC. First, I saw a wedge pattern forming. Okay, here's a nice little wedge setup in CERC on the daily chart. Now this is a daily chart. You see a nice little wedge here. You then also see right back here in the beginning of October a golden cross as the 50-day moving average crosses over the 200-day moving average. Then you can see ever since the end of August, this 50-day moving average has just been acting as support for this stock. Okay, see that 50-day moving average is acting as support. So you've got the 50-day acting as support, you've got a golden cross set up, and you've got this wedge pattern. And then you've got the CERC pushing, breaking out of this rounded bottom, getting up into the top end of this range, and then up into this gap that you see all the way back here from 2016. Okay, that's the pattern that I saw when I started calling out this CERC, and is the reason why I said, guys, I think the stock's got room to run. And that was the breakdown on that trade. Okay. At the time I called it out, the stock was sitting at $1.50, which is right here. Okay, and I liked it because it was above not just these highs that were the highs that were within the wedge, but it was also above this previous high back here from the beginning of July that could act as some minor resistance because it's just one little spike. But it was above both those levels, and it was hanging in, consolidating very nicely. After making a nice strong move in the morning, the stock just never really pulled in hard. It just had a nice strong move, had a one little pull in, and then just started chugging its way higher, and until it finally broke out and got volume. Okay, and that's that 43% gain in CERC. Now let me take you over to why I missed the trade. I was focusing on Mara, guys, all day. Here's Mara, gaps up big, okay? We traded this on Friday when I had this big move on Friday with the half a day, but gapped up big again today. When stocks gap up and then pull in and find support mid-gap, meaning they don't close the gap or fill the gap. If a stock fills the gap, that means it's going to trade back down to where it came from, where the gap originated from. So here's the gap, the previous day's close, the stock gaps up. If it was to fill the gap, it would trade all the way back down to here, and that would be considered filling the gap or closing the gap. When you see a stock pull in and find support mid-gap, okay, it didn't really go all the way down to fill the gap. So you see some support kicked in right here. Here it is again. Okay, so here's your support at this area. When a stock does that, a trigger for you will be when the stock then climbs back higher and breaks above the VWAP on an increase in volume. This orange line is the VWAP. Okay, when you see a stock find support mid-gap and then start to turn the corner like this, if volume is increasing when the stock gets up to this VWAP, the chances of that stock breaking above VWAP and making a push to retest this high of the day is high. Okay, the chances are high of that happening. But the key is the increase in volume. And you can see the increase in volume never came in Mara. When it went back up to test that VWAP, look, no increase in volume. So what happens? It gets up to VWAP, and VWAP is clear resistance for the stock. Okay, you see it can't get above it, falls back down, trades back sideways, goes all the way back down to retest that support level, holds, makes its way back up higher. Now, again, same concept. Guys, you want to look for increasing volume and a break above VWAP. What happened? VWAP held resistance. Why? No increase in volume. Okay? And this is the trade that I was waiting for all day. And I was stalking Mara. I was like, I'm waiting for that volume. I'm waiting for that volume increase. And it just never came because my plan on this was to get long this Mara. And then when you get that break through that, was to get long once I saw that volume starting to increase when it breaks through the VWAP and catch a move back up to retest the high of the day, which at the time was $10. And then I would reassess the trade once it gets up to 10, see how strong the volume was, see what kind of momentum there was. But it just never happened. Okay, just could not get above the VWAP. The VWAP held resistance on this stock all day until finally, right before the close, it gave up support and then started to sell down and further down into that gap. Okay, the other stock that I was looking at was the exact same scenario, like literally the exact same setup, and it was DPW. DPW, big gap up, pulls in, finds support, mid-gap. So here's your area of support. And what does it do as soon as it finds support? Goes up to retest that VWAP. Okay, breaks above VWAP, can't hold it, falls back below. Holds support though higher. Breaks back above VWAP, pulls back below, falls down, can't hold VWAP. Tries it again, can't hold VWAP. Tries it again, can't hold VWAP. All day long, this stock could not get above VWAP, and the reason is it never got that increase in volume. And I was waiting for this. Guys, I was stalking DPW and Mara like a hawk on a field mouse, okay? And it just never happened. It just never triggered, and that's why I missed that 43% gain in CERC, okay? Because CERC did trigger, and I missed it. I didn't pull the trigger, okay? So what I want you guys to take away from today is, yes, it's always important to have a game plan, and it's okay to stalk a stock and try to get that perfect entry, but just don't fall in love with the setup and don't get completely inundated with that one setup, because it can cause you to miss out on other moves and other stocks that are happening. So just because you're stalking one specific setup or one specific stock, there's a chance you could be wrong with the stock that you're stalking. So don't let that prevent you from catching other opportunities that the day presents to you between 9:30 and 4 o'clock. See you guys tomorrow.